Alright, so today we're gonna be playing Cyberpunk 2077 on a 10-year-old graphics card on ultra settings and also on 1440p resolution. And not just that, we're gonna be playing on 1080p, 720p, and basically in every resolution and every preset possible from ultra to low. And we're gonna see how this GPU is gonna perform. So this bad boy got released almost 10 years ago and still holds pretty well and plays most of the modern games pretty good, like at least those competitive games such as Fortnite and Valorant, and also GTA 5. This gives more than 100 frames per second. So the system I'll be using for this video is my personal PC that has Ryzen 9 3900X, 30 gigs of DDR4 3200 MHz RAM and 1 terabyte of SSD, and I hope this is not gonna bottleneck the GPU whatsoever. Alright, so first we are gonna be playing it on ultra and the resolution is gonna be 1440p. So this GPU doesn't have RTX, so I don't think so we should worry about anything. And on ultra settings with 1440p resolution, we are getting solid 5 FPS per second, and this seems pretty much playable. I'm just kidding, this is looking terrible. I mean, it looks pretty good, but the frames are so bad and the latency is 180 millisecond. So let's turn on the settings to high and we might get some extra FPS. See the performance.
Night City, expect the unexpected.
Okay, so we got a solid 1 FPS increase on high settings, 1440p resolution, and I think this is going to be pretty much playable for people who want to play just a story. Again, I'm just kidding. And on medium, this should be good, right? Yeah, 10 FPS. But I'll say one thing, on 10 FPS I can just walk around and look around and it doesn't bother me as much as those 5 FPS were bothering me, and I can run, and again the latency is 80-90 ms, and that's okay. You know what, let's switch to medium settings and see how this is gonna perform, because the game looks pretty good so far and I'm kind of surprised GTX 750 Ti can actually run Cyberpunk at all. I thought it's not even gonna boot. And I'm playing on the latest update, that is the Phantom Liberty update, so that means all the bugs are fixed or something. So let's see low settings. Okay, so on low we are getting about 15 frames per second, and I would say this is kind of a playable experience for a 10-year-old GPU. And again, we are on not 1080p, we are on 1440p resolution, so that explains a lot why 15 frames. And there's a Steam Deck settings. I think this is gonna make it better. Okay, now that made it worse and low settings, so we are getting 12 frames per second on Steam Deck settings. I don't know what that setting is, but anyway. Okay, so let's switch it to ultra and 1080p to see how it's gonna perform on 1080p, since that's the most used resolution for gaming these days according to Steam survey. Anyway, so 1080p ultra settings, let's see. Okay, so before we were getting 5 frames per second on ultra, but on 1080p we're getting about like 10. That is not so great. On high, let's see how much we get. So on high we got about 3 frames extra, not 3, actually 2 frames. No, I don't think so, this is gonna be playable anyway. Okay, so lowest settings, and I'm even gonna turn off these settings that are on medium, so we get the lowest settings on 1080p on this 10-year-old graphics card to see how it performs. And there's no ray tracing, so we shouldn't even worry about something. Okay, so on lowest settings 1080p we are getting 20 frames per second, and I would say, yeah, this is more like a console gameplay. This is how the game is gonna run on PS4, to be honest. 20 frames per second, and the graphics are gonna look just like this. And I would say this is actually playable. If I can drive a car without crashing it, that means it is playable. So this is what you're gonna expect from 1080p lowest settings in Cyberpunk in a GTX 750 Ti, and that too, it's only a 2 gigabyte of graphics card, like only 2 gigs of memory this graphics card is holding. Okay, so there's also one more resolution that I want to test, and that is going to be 720p, and I think that's going to be the sweet spot for this GPU to run the game. So let's switch to 720p lowest settings, and I think that's gonna be a lot better and smoother experience. Okay, there you go, 720p lowest settings. Oh god, the game looks so horrible. Oh wow, we're getting finally 30 frames per second on 720p lowest settings. So there's more like a console gameplay you will get on a 10-year-old graphics card, and I would say this is pretty good. I mean, I can play the game if I just want to complete the story by ignoring the visuals, so obviously, because this game looks really good on high-end PCs. But yeah, 720p 20 frames per second. So this is how this GPU is gonna perform on a Cyberpunk 2077. I mean, I can't believe this GPU can still run the game. I was surprised. I was like, it's not gonna boot up. Okay, wait, there's another setting that's called lower than 720p, I think. It is lower than 720p, right? Yeah, it's... okay, it is. Okay, so it doesn't make any much difference. We are still getting some really bad FPS on this GPU. But yeah, it is playable. So this is what you're gonna expect from a 10-year-old graphics card if you want to play games like Cyberpunk 2077. And I think this is gonna really destroy the GPU because it's on 100% usage no matter what resolution you play or what preset you play. 49 degrees, that's kind of cold, and CPU is not even stressing out, not even just a bit. So yeah, playing Cyberpunk 2077 on a 10-year-old GPU, this is what you're gonna get. And again, I would not recommend you to play Cyberpunk on this GPU. If you're planning to buy any GPU, just do not buy 750 Ti. If you want to play games like Cyberpunk 2077 especially, and was it a pleasant experience playing Cyberpunk on a 10-year-old GPU? Nope. Was it playable on any of those presets? Yeah, on 720p lowest settings it was playable, and it wasn't looking that great, but yeah, I could have just played the game and completed the story on 720p lowest settings, and the game was looking just fine. There was no stutter. It was, yeah, 30 FPS, but it was still playable. So yeah, this is what you're gonna get for playing Cyberpunk on a 10-year-old GPU. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that thumbs up, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.